the Dr. Karin Show, where the mind, body, and heart meet the soul. I am so incredibly excited about our guest today. Her name is Kathrin Zenkina, and she is Manifestation Babe. We have Manifestation Babe in the house. Say hi, Kathrin.
Hi guys, I'm super
Oh
excited.
my gosh. So Catherine and I were just laughing because I was like, what do you call yourself today? Because like my title changes almost every day because we have so many things going on. So her specialty though, just to give you an idea, if you don't know who she is yet, you're going to know her because you're going to go look her up and you're going to be blown away just like I was about how amazing this woman is. And she is a mindset coach. She's the guru on manifestation right now, how to manifest. And we're all getting into this right now. We're all looking at how working with energy really helps us to create flow in our life and to create happiness in our life and abundance. And this girl knows how to break it down in a way that I have never heard. So we are not even sure where we're going to go today. We're just going to start talking, right?
Yes, I'm so down. Let's do
We're
this.
just going to flow. So are you in LA?
I am currently in Los Angeles, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
surprise, surprise. Like, I live in LA, but I travel a ton, and sometimes it's hard to catch me here, but I'm super happy to be here.
You guys, I know that you manifested moving there. Where were you guys? Your boyfriend's name is Brendan, right?
Brennan.
Brennan. Where were you and Brendan living before that?
Oh my God. So we met in Seattle about 7 days after I decided to move to LA, 7 days after I broke up with my ex-boyfriend of 6 years, and 7 days after my very first Tony Robbins event, which is kind of like my real like higher self awakening where I just knew that things needed to change at that point. And we actually met in Seattle. And it's funny because I grew up in Los Angeles, and ever since I moved to Seattle, I moved for my parents' job. Like my stepdad got his dream job, and of course, when the stepdad gets his dream job, the whole family
Yeah.
moves up, and so you can't leave like a 13-year-old child behind. So as soon as I moved to Seattle, I remember visualizing moving back to LA for the longest time and just knowing that I'm going to come back. And
Yeah.
I just think that the energy is so different here. I feel like um, when it's raining, my vibe isn't as high as
Yeah.
it is when it's sunny. So I'm just super happy to be here. But yeah, he followed me back to LA. I moved first. 6 weeks later, he decided that he missed me and moved to LA as well.
I love that. I was thinking about that when I was driving over because I'm going to be traveling to LA quite a bit the next few months. And I was just meeting with someone the other day and she was like, you're from California, right? And I'm like, no, but I love that you said that because like that is so my vibe. And so many of
Yes.
us in this field, like we're just attracted to the energy there.
Oh
And
my
so,
God. Yeah.
I have three kids, so I can't, their dad lives here. So I'm like, I really want to find a way to move out there. And I was thinking about you saying you manifested it. And I have many friends, one with this network who just moved out there just for the same reasons. And I was like, you know what? I want to manifest just like at least having another place to land out there. Where like I've wanted to travel more. And I just got invited to a friend's wedding last night that's in Joshua Tree. I'm like, the universe is producing more West Coast trips. And like we can create, this is what I can't wait to talk to Catherine in depth about and for you to find out when you go and look at her stuff, is that you can create the life that you want by drawing the energy to you and expanding the energy around that desire and really trusting it. So I really want to create a way. And for me, it's the same as you. Like I flow so much better if I'm near sun and water
Yeah.
and people
Yeah.
that are open, right? So the energy of the community. And so, finding that place. So has your life shifted since you've moved there? Have you gotten the kind of change of energy that you wanted?
Oh my God. So this is a really interesting story because when I moved to LA, it was around the hardest time, like around like kind of my low point in life where I realized that I was in a very unfulfilling business and it's like, I call it my failing online business.
Yeah.
Brendan and mine relationship actually wasn't as great in the beginning as most people would think. And I wasn't making any money. Manifestation Babe was like brand new and is more like me documenting my own manifestation journey,
Yeah.
teaching others through me actually applying this information because I've known this information since I was 16 years old and I
That's
discovered the
so
secret.
crazy. Yeah.
And it's like I've read every single book. I've done all the courses. I've stalked all the gurus. I've done all the work, but
Right.
really I haven't done any work. I never really took action. And It was around the time in my life where I just started to take action. And so every decision that I started to make, I made it from flow and I made it from my higher self. And I just didn't question logic anymore. And so I knew that I was being pulled to Los Angeles. And so I was like, okay, we got to go. I got to move to Los Angeles. I just have this feeling. It doesn't make any logical sense right now because I'm broke and I have no idea how I'm going to pay for an apartment. But I just know that this is the next step. And it was funny because I had a session with this psychic that my mom highly, highly recommended to me at the time. And it was more like I needed some guidance around my business. And I asked her, like, oh, or she actually told me, she's like, you're about to move somewhere really warm. I see a lot of palm trees. I see sunshine. I see like this is like your home. You really love it here, and you are gonna explode because the energy is just right for you. Like I believe that, some people love rain, some people love snow. It's like the energy is different for everyone. I think that you should go wherever your soul is calling you because that's where you're gonna thrive, right? And we all want to thrive.
Right.
And so I got super excited. I was like, yes, my whole life is going to take off. This is my moment. This is where my business takes off. This is where I figured out, like, I'm just going to explode. People are going to see that I'm taking action in my life. They're going to sign on to my team because I was in an MLM at the time. And it's funny because, the psychic gave me all this confirmation. I got super excited and I moved down to LA and my whole life just flipped upside down.
Really?
Like, I mean, I ended up on my grandma's couch and I ended up making even less money through my business. I ended up having to get a 9-to-5 job, which was like my big no. Like,
right.
You're here to be an entrepreneur, Kathrin. Like, you're not going to work from an office. That's not right for you. That's not where you're supposed to be. And I just couldn't think of any other way to pay my bills and at least help my grandma with groceries and at least pay for like my car and gas and certain things like that. And so I ended up getting a 9-to-5 job. Brennan was not moving to LA yet.
What year was this? When was this, Kathrin?
This was April/May of 2016.
Just 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago, yeah.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
And it was funny because my whole life flipped upside down. And most people, when I coach people in manifestation, they think that when life turns upside down or where shit, like crap hits the fan.
Yeah, you can cuss here.
Huh?
You can cuss here.
Great. Okay,
I'm like, Kathrin's gonna come on and cuss. Yeah.
When shit hits the fan and things don't go your way, they take it as a sign of it's not meant to be. And I'm always like, actually, and this is mainly from my experience that I speak from, just so many things that I've witnessed and experienced since then, and so many people's stories, that actually when shit hits the fan, it's because the universe is rearranging things and clearing up space so that it can bring you exactly what it is that you want. And if you move to Los Angeles, like when I moved to LA, it's like I had my old way of thinking, I had my old patterns, I had my old friends, I had everything. I had to get rid of the old so that I can bring in the new. And it took a little bit of time, but really LA was moving to Los Angeles and going through that really low point in my life was the fire under my ass that I needed in order to take my life to where I am today. It really challenged me. It was the best challenge I could have ever asked for. It challenged me to put every single principle into action. It challenged me to develop a deeper relationship with source. It challenged me to practice focusing on what I do want versus what I don't want. It really challenged me to keep looking at my vision board, keep believing, keep doing my affirmations, keep doing all this stuff that I've always known, but I never really put into action. So it's almost like the universe gave me every situation and circumstance that I needed to actually put this into action. And of course, law of attraction plus law of action equals real life magic. And so now where I am today is a completely different place.
Gosh, I mean, it's such a relief for people to hear that. Like, that was only 2 years ago, you guys, exactly 2 years ago. I mean, and where your life has gone from that. So when things break down, sometimes it's because you're going to have a breakthrough. Like, so how did you know to keep going then? Like, how did you not give up? What made you see that how did you not like move back to your parents' house?
Yes. Yeah, really good question. So I've just known myself, and I've just known all the times that I have given up in my life before. I've just known all the times in my life where I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel deserving. I kept sabotaging myself. I kept getting really close to what I want. And then, just pretty much getting those signs to give up and then giving up. And so there's a lot of giving up in my, especially like childhood, middle school years, high school years. And I've always felt like a failure because I would always switch interests and I never knew what I wanted, never knew what I wanted to do. And then I realized one day that, like, you know what, like whatever I'm doing up until this point is not working for me. So let me do this experiment. I had this conversation with myself where I was like, enough is enough. Like a lot of people, they keep repeating their patterns, and they don't ever take the time to ask themselves, is what I'm currently doing working for me? Like I keep repeating the same patterns, but why? I'm just going to get the same exact result. And so I finally had this like realization, like, okay, I have to do something different. And so I went on this, like, I call it my 12-month experiment or whatever it is that I call it. I made this agreement that for 1 year of my life, I am going to apply everything that I know. I'm going to pretend it's going to be a game in my life where everything is always happening for me. I can manifest whatever it is that I want. There's already a version of myself at the end of the year who already has everything that she wants. I'm just going to become her. I'm going to apply, you know, my manifestation process, everything, like for real this time, like for real. And I remember having this conversation with myself and reminding myself that if by the end of the year, if by the end of 12 months or whatever it was, like I think I started this like March 2016 and I was like, by January 2017, and I had like all these plans to pay off my debt. I had all these plans to increase my income and all this stuff. And so I remember speaking of like having this conversation with myself, like if by January 2017 I fall flat on my face, I get in a much worse position than I was before, you know, God forbid I'm like homeless at this point or like whatever would happen, then I never ever ever have to do this again. In the grand scheme of things, what is 1 year of my life? Like I plan to be around for a while, you know, in the grand scheme of let's say 50 years, what is 1 year? It's nothing. So I was like, okay, I really have nothing to lose because I'm already at a really low point. So do I have anything to lose? Absolutely not. And if by the end of the year, my life takes off, you know, like I get everything that I want. I prove myself that yes, manifestation actually is real. Then you know what? Then I'll just continue and my life will be in a different place. And so that was like kind of this agreement that I had with myself. I turned my life into a game, an experiment. And I really asked myself, like, is my current way of thinking serving me? Are my current beliefs serving me? Obviously not. So I need to change something. And so I just decided that for 1 year of my life, I'm just going to change. I'm just going to play this game. I'm just going to do this little experiment with myself. And obviously it worked, like beyond worked. It was amazing. But that's really how if it wasn't for that, I would have stayed in my head. If I didn't do something radically like different and turn into this game and made it fun and made it like an experiment, then I would have been so depressed. I would have been so lost. I would have probably moved back to Seattle. And my mom kept texting me like, honey, it's okay, you can move back in with us, like it's okay, like if you're struggling. And so of course in those moments of despair you're like, oh my God, yes, like that looks like my way out. And a lot of people take their way out, a lot of people give up. And so I knew that, like, okay, I've given up so many times in the past. If I give up again, I'm never going to get to where I want to be.
Gosh, I mean, isn't that amazing? This is so great because it really is the journey of manifesting, because it's like, what if, and my intuitive guide, the woman that I work with as like a counselor or whatever, she's also psychic, she always poses that question to me, and she's like, Karin, what if ... like what if you really believed, how would things change? You know, and it's that magical question, and it is magic. I mean, it's magical spiritual manifestation. It's insanely magical and beautiful. And you made this experiment over a year, because I know that your background, you had a degree in biology, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I know you've talked about, and I just had an episode that would have aired last week before your episode comes on, or it may be switched. We're not really sure yet. But anyway, I just taught in the studio on the logical mind and how it interferes with what our core knows, which is the truth. You know, and once we're running it through logic and analysis and picking it apart and putting all that doubt and all the opinions of other people in, that's when the confusion comes. Right? But to get just from, like, so for you, how do you explain that to people, like that knowing to go back to what you want to manifest? When people, I'm sure, ask you all the time, like, how do I know what I want to manifest? How do you explain that in Kathrin's terms? Because I know you do it beautifully.
I always say, like, if I were to have like a magic wand or I took a genie out of a bottle, like,
Yeah.
what would you want your life to look like? Just
Mm-hmm.
just let's go. Because here's the thing, the way I see, and there's so many explanations of the subconscious mind, but what really helped me is there's, we have a conscious mind, we have a subconscious mind. A subconscious mind is in charge of basically keeping us alive, and it has a lot of our patterns and belief systems and memories that are stored and played on repeat. And it's actually the part of us that, when in conflict with our conscious mind, our subconscious mind is always going to win. And I see our subconscious mind as the window between us and the universe. And so, whatever it is that we want to manifest, the reason why things like affirmations, things like repetitive, I call it mind food listening. So, I always listen to like inspirational podcasts or
Yeah.
interviews or things like this. And I just keep pushing it
Right.
into my subconscious, because that's what I want my subconscious to focus on. Whatever you give your subconscious mind to focus on, that's what's going to manifest. And your subconscious mind is this imaginative powerhouse. And it's actually only as old as 7 years old. So from the ages
Yeah.
of 0 to 7 years old, you're a walking subconscious mind, and you're a sponge to the belief systems, the thoughts, the experiences, the patterns, everything of your very first teachers, which your very first teachers are probably your parents or
Right.
aunts and uncles, whoever it is that raised you at that age. So a lot of people don't realize that their belief systems and their thoughts and their patterns are actually learned, and they come from elsewhere.
Right.
And so from ages 0 to 7, you're essentially a sponge. You take that in as your truth. Like, that's
Right.
just like how you're wired at that point. And then after age 7, it kind of like locks in, and it just starts to repeat those same patterns. So
Right.
pretty much like adults can have the same patterns repeating over and over and over again as a 7-year-old. And so a lot of people don't realize, like, okay, why am I self-sabotaging myself? Why am I driving myself insane? Why do I believe this? Well, it's like, let's go back to age 7. Like, what happened? Like, what did your parents say about, money, or what you're capable of,
Totally
or what did
right.
your teachers teach you, or whatever it is.
Right.
And so, because the subconscious mind is only as old as 7 years old, it's like a child. And so it's
Yeah.
imaginative. It likes to play in pictures. It likes movies. It likes fun. It likes games. And so, kind of like imagining, like, oh my God, there's a magic wand out there, or there's a genie in the bottle.
Yeah.
If I actually had one, what would I want my life to look like? Like, if I can just push a button, what would I want my relationship to look like? What would I want my life to look like? What would I want my body to look like? My health, just like all these different aspects of my life. And just write out whatever comes through. And even if it's something that's like unrealistic, it's only unrealistic because to you right now, in your belief systems and the way that you're wired, this might be unrealistic. But to the universe, there's no such thing. And so, really going on this kind of like journey, imaginative journey, is really how I like to explore my desires. I do this a lot with my business model, especially like when I'm feeling burnt out, or I feel like something's not resonating with me anymore. I'm like, okay, what do I want my schedule to look like? What do I want my business to look like? Let's say I have a magic wand right now, and I can visualize my calendar, and I can visualize all these opportunities. What is it that I want? Now, with people who are really shut down, especially I've come across a lot of clients who just like, they've really adopted other people's desires. Like, they really are wired by other people. They've learned so many limitations from other people, and they don't even know who they are. And they've kind of been holding this front of, especially people who have had trauma or needed to survive earlier on. They have like this front where they don't really know themselves. And so, with those people, I always say, okay, what are the things that you don't want? Okay, so what are the things that are irritating you, frustrating you, that you absolutely hate, don't want to deal with anymore? Let's write those down. Now that you've identified everything that you don't want, now from that, it's so much easier to take what you do want. Well, you want the opposite. It's like, I don't want, for instance, I don't want a boss who hates me and yells at me every other day. Okay, so what kind of boss do you want then? What do you want instead? And so, it's so much easier to go from the negative to a positive, especially if you're accustomed to constantly thinking about the negative and living in that negative place. But yeah, it's really as simple as that. It's just like, what do you want?
Yeah, but I agree. Like, I think it's hard, especially for women, to really say what they want, because they've been taught that their needs aren't as important as others. And this is, I have a couple classes online too, and that's like my biggest message is like, let's undo those rules that our needs come back. And so sometimes to get there, like you're saying, okay, I know it's almost been taught to us that we're bad girls if we say what we want. Like, no, be quiet. Like, it's about everybody else. And so, okay, then let's go back to what you don't want. And I love that. And out of the don't want, you're refining and chipping away what you do want. And
It's always the
totally.
opposite. It's always the opposite. And same with like what, limiting beliefs, creating empowering beliefs. Like take all
Mm-hmm.
your limiting beliefs, take everything that you believe about yourself or about life or about your relationship, whatever that's like, that's limiting you, holding you back. And then like, all right, like that's the pattern that's repeating in your subconscious
Mm-hmm.
mind. That's the pattern that you have been taught or have experienced,
Mm-hmm.
and experiences will sometimes solidify new beliefs. We'll take a moment in our life and create a whole story out of it. And so a lot of people take these like one moment in their childhood and all of a sudden it's become like their
Mm-hmm.
truth, their identity, this
Yeah.
whole story. And it's like, let's take that and let's just switch it into the opposite. Let's make it what's an opposite truth that would be a lot more empowering. And then understanding
Mm-hmm.
that what is the truth? The truth is whatever you believe. Your reality is always going to reflect whatever it is that's going on inside here. So you make the decision behind what is actually the truth. And
Right.
whatever it is that you decide on to be the truth, belief systems, they are so like hardened in our subconscious minds. I kind of look at them as like rocks. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we need to shatter them by constantly searching out proof that they're not necessarily the truth. And so if we're stuck in a belief system like like I am unworthy of love or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, well, write out all the reasons why even if you are unworthy of love, because that's what you believe, what about you makes you lovable? Were there ever moments in your life where you loved another human being or were loved by your mom or were loved by another family member? Like there's an example, like we take these
Yeah.
moments, this trauma or this pain or something that happened, and we turn it into this huge story. But if you really break it down, you ask yourself like, okay, is this really the truth? Like really nobody loves me, nobody ever
Yeah.
loved me, I've never experienced love, like are you sure? And so all of a sudden like these rocks start to break down and
Mm-hmm.
you start to shatter them and break them away. And then you get to make you get to decide on a new belief, and you get to decide what is the new pattern that I want constantly going over and over and over again in my subconscious mind. And it's all a matter of choice. But I think that a lot of people don't have awareness that they have this choice, which is why
Mm-hmm.
I'm so
Yeah.
like passionate about what I
Yeah.
do, and like I keep sharing and keep sharing and keep teaching others.
Yeah.
It's because I want to remind everyone that you have a choice. Like your worthiness is a choice. How much you believe you deserve, it's all these choices and decisions that we make. And how you want your reality to look like is another, day after day, a bunch of choices that you keep making. Keep making decisions, keep making commitments to yourself, and deciding what it is that you want, and just getting out of your own way, and just allowing the universe to bring you whatever it is that you desire. And sometimes it's through guidance, and sometimes this guidance leads you to your action steps, because I believe that action is definitely involved with the manifestation process. But sometimes you need to just surrender and understand that like your next step is going to unfold. Your only job is to decide what is it that I want and why do I want it, so that you have some sort of like you want to make it compelling, and you want to make it a must, not a should. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, so what do I want? Why do I want it? And then the rest is up to the universe. There's no more that you have to do.
Girl, I'm just like, I almost started weeping in the middle of you talking. You are flowing and channeling so beautifully. I mean, I'm like, Sue, I know I'm a lot older than you, so I'm almost like a big sister over here. I'm just like, I'm so proud of her. Because that wisdom, I mean, I have a doctorate in counseling and I've learned all that. And I know you have a degree in biology, so you have this background that teaches you how to, flow chart things and predict things. But that
Yeah.
guidance that is flowing through you is so divine and pure and like completely channeled. You just flowed for like 10 minutes like straight. That what I don't know what it was, but I was just like enraptured, and I'm sure everybody else here was too. And I just applaud that. But see, I love that you just talked about choice, because you could have. I was listening to one of your podcasts this morning, and you were talking about, and you were delivering it so beautifully and gently, where you were like, this is available, but you don't have to choose it. Like, no good or bad, no judgment, but it's a choice. And so my guys have all said, when I've had those days where I'm like, why me? Like, you saw what I did in the 80s and 90s, right? Like, are you sure you want me? And they're just like, well, you just raised your hand. Like, you raised your hand. So you like are letting this guidance come in, and you've made the choice to raise your hand, to open up and let this flow. And it's like that piece for me. About 4 years ago, I had my huge blow up awakening. And when I got that piece about choice, and it's so simple, like once you get it, it's like, yeah, but you can spend decades or your whole life never getting it. But once you realize that you have an internal locus of control and you actually do have a choice, and it really is that simple. Like
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah.
That simple. Like you can stop choosing one way and you can choose another. And one of my biggest pieces about choice, and this is my stuff, but it's about being victimized and not, I don't mean like traumatized. I mean being the victim. In other words, everything is in control of you except for you. Like the world's out to get me. See, I told you this job was going to fail. Oh, I'm the victim. See, I told you that relationship. See, nobody's ever going to love me. And when I got that piece, and I see so many people living with that mentality, right? And I'm just like, you can write a different story by
Yeah,
choosing your different
absolutely.
language and re-scripting those beliefs.
Yeah, and like in terms of choices, like a lot of people have a hard time like, but how did I choose, like this
Exactly.
job that I hate or whatever? Like how did I choose, my husband to react to me that way? Well, sometimes it's a matter, a lot of people are like, a lot of people take law of attraction literally, and they basically shame other people and be like, well, you manifested that. That's your own doing. Like this horrible situation is your own doing. And I always look at it differently. And I look at sometimes choice means choosing how we react to situations. It's
Yeah.
choice in perspective.
Right.
It's choice in how we view things. Like Dr.
Always.
Wayne Dyer says, change the way you look at things and things you look at change.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, like for instance, a lot of the women that I help with, they have unsupportive husbands or unsupportive family members. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're never going to be able to change them. Like you cannot change them, but you can change your perspective of them. You can view them differently. You can understand that they have a completely different model of the world. They have other belief systems, other values, other identities that are ruling the way that they perceive reality. And so sometimes you just have to forgive them, and you just have to take a step back and understand that, everyone's always doing the best that they can with the resources that they have, and they just don't have the resources right now to see things differently or react differently or treat you differently. And that's just like, to them, they think that they're doing their best. And you can't judge someone who thinks that they're doing their best, because to them, they're doing what they can in that moment with the resources that they have. And so sometimes choice, it's about reframing things in the past. It's about reframing that fight, or reframing that, the boss who let you go, or reframing that, whatever it is that happened in your life. It's not like, oh, like I'm such a bad manifester, or, oh, I'm so horrible, and like I don't know how to create my reality because look at all these bad things that I'm creating. Like I'm the kind of manifestation coach that puts a lot of empowerment into the negativity. Like I believe that negativity serves us. I believe that polarity exists so that we always get what we don't want, so that we know what we do want. And I think that challenges, like if you don't have any challenges, then you're not alive. Like you're not being human. You're not, like, you're already in a different universe. But as long as you're on planet Earth and you're a human being, you're going to have challenges. There's going to be problems to solve. There's going to be lots of these opportunities, and we have to reframe it and stop seeing it as like this thing that's holding us back, or this thing that's going to keep us from, living our dream lives. Instead, start seeing how it's directing you actually to keep moving forward. How is it strengthening you? How is it guiding you? How is it directing you? And start to see negative thinking or negative emotions or bad days as like, this is guidance from the universe to help you strengthen your focus muscle, because it's through focus that we manifest, focusing on what we do want. And so sometimes we need a little bit of that like craziness to direct us into the right direction. And so always being grateful for this guidance, and being grateful for our challenges, being grateful for everything that's given to us to help us grow, to strengthen us. And so again, with choice, bringing it back, like sometimes it's a choice of just seeing things differently.
So, I mean, I just want to like on that. That was so beautiful. I love that you just freed so many people when you said about reframing the way we're looking at people that we feel so frustrated that we can't control. Everybody deals with that. And when you get that piece, although it can be the most challenge that we have in life because it's out of your control, but when you're able to reframe it, I mean, you're talking about compassion and realizing, I mean, I totally agree with that. And Maya Angelou talked about that kind of stuff a lot too, about like you do what you're doing the best in every situation. And when you know better, then you do better. And that it's not all about other people too. It's looking back at your life. And I'm always like, don't judge you 5 years ago or 5 months ago with your spirit and mind now, because now you know and you're refined. back then you were doing the best you can, like you just said, with the knowledge and experience you
Yeah.
had and the belief system. Because
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like people who judge themselves in the past. It's like every single day you have a brand new opportunity.
yeah,
Every single day it's
yeah,
like you open a new door to a new life. And you know, your present moment, you are now manifesting for the future.
yeah,
Where you are presently is a manifestation of the past. So a lot of people repeat their past. A lot of people are like, "Oh, because I did this 5 years ago, like this is why God's punishing me. This is why I can't do this.
yeah.
This is why."
I
And
know.
it's like, no, actually, like you're just reliving that same day for
Yeah,
5 years in a row.
yeah,
Like you have a brand new opportunity, a brand new day. Like I know every single morning that the door to the past just closed, and it's now the door to the present and the door to the future. And so everything, you know, I can wake up in the morning and I can be grateful for everything. And even during my hard days, or even if there's a challenge or if there's something going on, I can still find the gratitude and like, okay, I can't wait to see. Because I always know Tony Robbins really helped me with this. Like, life is always happening for you, not to you. And
mm-hmm.
so when I have like challenges happen in my life, I reframe it as excitement now, because I'm like, okay, this is happening for me. I
So
cannot
great.
wait to see how this happens for me. And so I am able to like step back and not just live through my challenges, you know, looking through my own eyes, but I can take that third person perspective and just kind of observe and watch and be like, okay, that's interesting. Why would this happen? That, you know, that's interesting. Like, okay, Kathrin, let's stay calm, because one day this is all going to go away. One day it's going to get better. The best is always yet to come. And
Yeah.
so I just get excited to wake up every morning. And something else that I do every morning besides gratitude is, well, one of my gratitude things is like, I'm so grateful that I woke up today, because it means that I still have a purpose. It means I still have
Mm-hmm.
lives to change. It means I
Yeah.
still have things to shift, things to do, things to create. And so I want to inspire more people to start looking at every single morning when they wake up as like, okay, a new opportunity to create a new life. Everything that
Mm-hmm.
happened in the past, you have to forgive, because as long as you're holding on to resentment in your heart, you're going to keep manifesting that caca into your life,
Yeah.
because your heart is just filled with this negative black energy. And it's like, just release it, let it go, create space, allow something new to come in. Every single day, ask yourself, how can I create space in my heart? How can I release something that no longer serves me? And just think about, is it a thought? Is it a belief? Is it a relationship? Is it a, you know, for me and my desk, like me moving my desk,
Yeah.
doing some intuitive feng shui, like that's something I needed to release, the way my old desk was positioned, and put it into this new position. So it doesn't have to be like this crazy
Right.
transformational work every single day, but just ask yourself, what can I let go of? What's no longer serving me? And what can I add to my life that is going to take me to the next level?
Don't you guys want to go to the next level with her? Like, our time is like running short, which I hate, because people like Kathrin, okay, you guys are going to get a lot of her because she has so much to offer. But before we go into how they can find you, because everyone's going to want to find you now, I found her first. She was talking to me first. I'm going to reach into my little take a trip. We're going to take a trip off of our little subject, and I'm going to draw it for you since you're not here. We're just gonna do one question. Okay, your question is, oh, what are you the most proud of so far in your life?
Wow. I think I'm the most proud of, for really, I mean, there's so many things, but I think really it's the fact that I never gave up in times of challenges, in times of when I just felt like the whole universe is against me. I'm just so grateful, and so proud of myself for just constantly moving forward. Like, no matter what, I don't give myself an option to stay still. I don't give myself an option to move backwards. I just keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. And honestly, I ask myself sometimes, like, what is driving that? Like, what is really driving me to have so much of that drive forward and to keep
Right.
going? And even when it's hard, and even when things happen, um, it's like I just know that there are people out there counting on me. I know that there are people out there who are experiencing something worse than I am, or they're in the same boat as me, or in the same boat that I was in 2 years ago. And so
Right.
I need to help those people. I need to share with them that everything's going to be okay, and that the universe is always working for you. It is always, I believe that life is a game, and it's rigged in your favor. I truly believe that. And
Love
so
it. Yeah.
make everything a game, make it fun again, make it, manifestation is a
Yeah.
game. It's a fun game that you play. And it's so simple, but because it's so simple, a lot of people are like, no, it can't work. It can't be that simple, but it is.
Yeah.
turn your life into a game, and it's just going to amaze you with what's going to unfold in your life. Like, create that space for positivity, create space for new amazing people to come in, create space for all the good vibes to come in. And I guess I'm just really proud of myself for continuing on with the journey up until this point.
That's awesome. I love that. You're so authentic, and people can feel that. You know, I know we talked about that before going on air, but that was delivered from the heart. And, you know, I think also when we do that, it gives other people permission, especially women, to be proud of themselves for things like that and to voice that and to be like, to own it. You know, and of course, as you're doing that, you're increasing energy around it. So more of that's going to come to you, as we know. So, you know, so don't be afraid to speak proudly of yourself, women. Like, speak up and like shine a light on what's been freaking good about your life, and you'll bring more of it to you. Okay, I want to bring more of her to you guys. So I'll let you tell them. I know you have so much happening. I mean, when you go on her website, manifestationbabe.com, you will see, follow her on Instagram. She has the best Insta stories. You'll feel like you live with her and Brennan. Like, and I wanted to get into Brennan, but we don't have time. But if you want to know about Brennan, he now is like almost your like co-teacher sometimes. He just hops on and like gives his wisdom, and then it's the cutest thing.
He literally, I don't know where he comes from, but it's always like he comes
Yeah.
in, drops the mic, and then leaves. And I'm like, all right, you need your own show, Brennan. Like, get your own
Yeah.
live stream, get your own website, like, get your own stuff, because you're starting to confuse
Yeah.
people here. Like, you are this like guru, and like this just
So
he just
awesome.
has so much wisdom and so much insight. And he's my coach. Like, when I'm having a hard time, like, Brennan's there to coach me. And so I'm like, dude, you can help so many people.
Yeah.
He's
He
still
will.
hiding a little bit behind the scenes and helping me,
Yeah.
grow my business. But one day he's gonna come out.
Oh my gosh, of course. But what's neat is you get to walk this journey with her, and she's so super real. And so what I love, okay, now we're gonna wind up. But let me just tell you guys this: if you're toying with like numerology and looking for signs, Kathrin is so amazing about showing you all the signs that show up. You've actually inspired me to do it more on my Insta stories, because like every time she sees. Oh God, it was the globe, the world is one of yours. Okay,
Map of the world.
the map of the world, and like repeating numbers, and she'll circle it. It's really cute. She'll picture it and circle it. And so, and what I love about it is not only that she's sharing her journey with us, but that it's reminding you to also be open. And the more you've actually spurred me to be more open to numerology, and since I have, so much more has flowed to me, because I'm of course more open to it and I'm more alert to it. I mean, it's like everywhere. It's just, I love it. It's like and again, it's a game. It's like so fun.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
I'm like,
supposed to be fun.
what
I
numbers?
know.
I was telling
Right.
her, I just got a, I'm not going to tell you, I got a credit card, and like the little code number on it was 8888. It just showed up in my box today. And I was like, oh my God. And I happened to watch one of her podcasts where she was explaining one of the meanings behind 8888. And I love that you also talked about listening to your own intuitive knowledge about numbers. So that's another show. I know I keep going. It's hard not to. Like, pew, pew, pew.
We need to
Right?
do more.
I know, I love it. So pay attention if you want more of that and want that fueled in your own life. It is so fun to watch her. So talk about where they can find you before I just keep being your PR agent.
I just freaking love you, Karin.
Thank you.
So you can find me on Instagram. That's my favorite place to hang out right
Yeah.
now. It's at Manifestation Babe. I have a Facebook group on Facebook. It's a huge community of other manifestors. It's called Manifestation Babes. And then my website, manifestationbabe.com. That's like my hub. That'll lead
Yeah.
you pretty much anywhere from there, whether it's my Instagram, Facebook, courses, books, whatever it is that I have going on. I just host it all in one place. So manifestationbabe.com, at Manifestation Babe, or the Manifestation Babes Facebook group.
Give us one thing, if someone's just like coming in and they want to like invest in their first like leveling up, like tell me one thing that you're offering that would be a really good choice for them.
Yeah, so I would say start with the freebie library that I have. I just have like this big resource library of a
So
bunch of
great.
stuff. So we talked about angel numbers. I have a cheat sheet in there for angel numbers. I have a really beginner's like 5-day manifesting challenge where I share with you kind of like how manifestation works and help you bring in your I call it bring in your desire by Friday. So it's like a Monday to Friday 5-day challenge.
Right.
And there's just a lot of other resources like workbooks and ebooks and all that stuff. And then from there, I would say whatever speaks to you. Like I have courses that I focus on money mindset. I have a book on money mindset. And then I have like a course that goes like 10 levels deeper than that, which is called Rich Babe. And so I'm actually working on a Manifestation Babe Academy, which is like a 4-week live course just on like the real ins and outs of manifesting, on the deepest level, as deep as I can go and as deep as that would make sense to a majority of people. And I'm just super excited about that. So I would start with the freebie library and just see what speaks to you from there.
Yeah, let your intuition guide you.
Yes.
I hope you guys are guided right to her. I love her. She really has. You've like so transformed so much of my mindset. So I've just been watching you from afar, but I hope we get to see more of her. So thank you so much for being with us. And I want to thank you guys for watching. And I want to remind you, not only do you follow your intuition, but when you're following your intuition, you're coming from your heart. And when you're doing that, you're always going the right direction. Bye, you guys.